collaboration, sharing expertise with one another, and invent or innovate relevant materials applicable for the current time. Teachers play a significant role in setting up conditions for collaboration to occur. Specifically, teachers should attend to group formation. Their role in scaffolding and modeling collaborative tasks or project structure and design and feedback to help improve student learning. In group formation, generally with more students in a group, the easier for students to rewrite, letting other students to work for them. But the teacher should be cautious and keen enough to supervise their group activities. Heterogeneous grouping appears to benefit lower achieving students. They will be encouraged to join their group. Participation guidelines. Collaboration is more likely when teachers set clear guidelines for group participation, such as supporting ideas with reasons or discussing alternative solutions. Teachers also support collaboration when they establish norms for group communication and model these norms. Task structure and activation. In rote learning and simple tasks are less likely to promote collaboration. The structure of the task must activate particular learning processes and mechanisms for effective collaboration to occur. Tasks should be sufficiently complex, authentic, and novel to elicit elaborated explanations and group thinking so that all students, not just the highest achieving, can demonstrate the desired performance. Teacher feedback. The teacher plays a critical role in monitoring the collaborative activity and providing students with formative feedback on the quality of the collaborative effort during and at the end of the project. Teachers need to anticipate negative group behaviors, such as free riding and continuous monitoring of group interactions. In groups processes and progress, such reflections can be critical for improving the collaborative experience and collecting evidence about the quality of student interaction for assessment purposes. Another characteristic of a 21st century teacher is that risk taker. Yes, the risk taker. There's so much to learn. How can we as educator know all those things? You must take risks and sometimes surrender yourself to students' knowledge. Have a vision of what you want and what the technology can achieve. Identify the goals and facilitate the learning. Use strengths of the digital natives to understand and navigate new products. Have them teach each other. Trust your students. They got potentials. Here are some ways on how teachers can implement risk-taking in the classroom in small ways, or what we call the micro risk. First is peer-based learning. One way to implement risk-taking in the classroom is to create a peer-based learning environment. This model begins with the students brainstorming ideas individually. They then share their ideas to one other peer, finally presenting them in the class, or what we call sometimes the think, pair, share. This method allows students to start with a small risk, presenting a new idea to just one person, and then, after receiving feedback and validation, they feel more confident in sharing with the whole class. Another is student blogging. Teachers can also encourage risk-taking through writing by having each student start a blog. Blogging allows students to express themselves to a broader audience. They can take risks on their own terms, deciding how open and vulnerable they want to be. Teachers can assist by giving writing prompts that can encourage them to take writing risks. For example, they could they could ask students to create a storyboard about an impactful moment in their lives and publish it. To mitigate the risk of exposing too much personal information in the internet, students could post anonymously or within a class blog that only their peers can read. Another way is sketching notes. Teachers can allow students to experiment with their note taking, finding a solution that works best for them. Sketching notes is recommended as a creative outlet for processing material. This practice may not work in all class scenarios, but teachers can ensure at least part of a lesson is conducive to this form of creativity, which could improve students' retention. For example, during a history class, teachers might have students draw an event, including important details and labeling key figures, and experimenting with a new note-taking method may increase understanding of a subject and result for a better academic outcome. Another characteristic is the learner. We expect our students to be lifelong learners. Teachers must continue to absorb experiences and knowledge as well. We must endeavor to stay current. I wonder how many people are still using their lesson plan, unit plans 5 years ago. To be a teacher, we must learn and adapt as the horizons and landscapes change. We have to upskill ourselves with the current trends in education. Most especially the fast-changing world of technology and the most appropriate strategy in dealing with the learners, the digital native. Another characteristic is the communicator. The first 20th century teacher is fluent in tools and technologies that enable communication and collaboration, like emails, live chat, social media, telephone systems, and the like. They go beyond learning just how to do it. They also know how to facilitate it, stimulate and control it, moderate and manage it. Teachers who hone their communication skills are prepared to instruct, advise, and mentor students entrusted in their care. Communication is both receptive and expressive. Teachers must be skilled at listening to their students as well as explaining things clearly. Teachers need clarity of thought to present the material. They must be able to break down complex ideas into simpler parts and smaller steps to transmit to their students. They must be able to adapt their methods of communication to all students regardless of ability or learning style. They are able to read their students and adapt to the needs of the individual. Effective communication includes transforming the boring into the interesting and having good presentation skills. There are 8 strategies for effective communication in the classroom. First is create a safe learning environment with supportive relationships. It has been proven that supportive relationships between students and teachers have a positive impact on class engagement, participation, and the achievements of the students. It has been suggested that these supportive relationships may negate the tendency that these supportive relationship, the tendency for low income students to have poorer school outcomes. This is because when students feel supported, They are more comfortable expressing their own thoughts and ideas in class. Discussions, attempting challenges, and asking when they need help. Higher levels of engagement and participation then lead to better developed knowledge and greater achievement. A supportive learning environment is built using communication. You should get to know your students well and show them that they are safe from judgment or humiliation in your classroom. It is a good idea to learn students' names early in the school year and use them often. Have an open door policy for students to come and talk to you about any issues and be empathic and caring when you interact with them at all times. Don't tell them off and not understanding and don't include their thoughts and ideas. Additionally, you should recognize that students don't feel comfortable. Some students don't feel comfortable talking in front of the class. If you do so, if you do ask them to participate, you could use scaffolding, such as sentence starters, to make them feel safer doing so. However, forced participation is usually unnecessary. It is likely that quieter students have excellent learning skills and are learning just as much despite despite not sharing their ideas and thoughts. Another is more teamwork. Teamwork and group discussions contribute to making the classroom a more comfortable environment. By working in small groups, students are able to share their ideas more easily and improve their own communication skills. These activities also give them a good opportunity to ask you questions and get feedback on their work, leading to effective communication between you, better understanding of the lesson, and academic benefits. You could also try to improve communication skills through teamwork with your colleagues, planning more lessons together, sharing ideas, and problem solving together will develop the way that you interact. Another is body language. Communication is not only verbal, but also nonverbal. You should ensure that signals you are giving you are giving out to your uh, through body language are positive, confident, and engaging. For example, making eye contact with students when you are talking to them shows that you are being supportive and attentive. Making eye contact is also important when you are presenting to the whole class. It motivates everyone to pay attention, which helps them to learn as well as making them feel involved. In order to make more eye contact, you may have to learn your lesson content more thoroughly in advance so that you don't have to look away to read your notes. As you teach, you should use gestures to emphasize your words. This increases the interactivity of the lesson, making it more visually interesting and hence more memorable. Keep your arms open. Do not fold them. Use your smiles, nods, thumbs up, and encourage students when they participate. Moving around the classroom while you teach can help to remove the barrier between you and your students and gives them less opportunity to zone out and get distracted. Body language is also important when dealing with negative behavior. To avoid being confrontational, ensure that you don't stand directly above or in front of a student. Point or evade their personal space. It may be effective to get down to their level and talk quietly about their behavior or speak to them outside the classroom. To avoid drawing too much attention, remember that students' behavior is also a form of communication and think about what is telling you. Active listening is a component of communication and should not be overlooked. Over 60% of all misunderstandings result from poor listening. Practicing good listening in the classroom can benefit you in two ways. Firstly, you will be a model for your students. You will improve their own listening skills and thus retain lessons better. Secondly, by using active listening, you can correct misunderstanding and extend learning, resulting in a better education for your students. Active listening involves listening carefully to what your students say, checking that you have understood them carefully or correctly, I should say. For example, repeating back to them what they think they have said. What do you think they have said? And building on their ideas and challenging our questions to them or questioning them. So it is the best approach to use to foster understanding in the classroom and is an excellent example of effective communication. Another is feedback. Feedback is also important component of communication in the classroom. There have been many studies focusing on feedback in recent years. It has been shown that positive feedback like praise builds students' confidence, making them more likely to believe that they can succeed, and helps to create a supportive environment and increase academic success. You can also use positive feedback to modify students' behavior. For example, praising a student for having their hand up is likely to cause the students around them to stop shouting and copy this behavior in order to be praised themselves. That's according to Howell, Caldera Court, and Young, 2014. However, positive feedback can be detrimental to learning if it is used without being deserved or too frequently. Phrases such as good job or beautiful may not motivate students because they do not understand what they are specifically being praised for. While overpraising can cause children to lack interest in situations when they are not being praised. As a result, you should give a specific deserved feedback, positive feedback. Use the student's name explicitly. State what they are doing right and thank them enthusiastically. For example, wow, thank you for being cooperative in your group, Michael. Keep it up. Another is sense of humor. The use of humor in the classroom has been found to increase learning, self-motivation, and positive relationships between students and teachers. It allows you to establish a rapport with your class and keep them interested in the lesson. For example, you might tell jokes or funny anecdotes, give light-hearted personal examples, or laugh at students' own jokes. However, you should ensure that you don't use negative humor, where you demean or embarrass students, or humor that is either irrelevant to the lesson, disturbing, violent, sexual, or forced. Only continue to use humor that has received a positive response from class, such as laughing. Another is technical skills. Using up-to-date teaching aids such as computers, videos, and online resources is another way to keep students engaged and reinforce their understanding. It can also increase the effectiveness of your communication with students with different learning styles who may benefit from online resources and more old-fashioned ones. Try to work some of these aids into your lessons on a regular basis. Another is
Yeah.
be clear. Good communication and good teaching is about understanding and being understood. For this reason, you should always be clear and unambiguous and adapt your words to your audience. Think about this while writing lesson plans, that you break complex ideas into simple, logical parts of your for your audience to understand. But also, while you interact with the children after presenting the lesson, for example, you may wish to check the teaching by asking students questions or requesting summaries of the lesson in their own words. When you ask your students questions, use appropriate scaffolding that they understand exactly what you are asking. If you teach in a primary school, your students' language abilities won't be fully developed,
Ulay.
not yet fully developed. Closed questions or eliciting yes or no responses, force alternatives like is he angry or happy? And sentence starters like a noun is like that, and then are more effective for communicating with younger children. For older children, open-ended questions such as how do you think or tell me about will allow them to extend their thinking and develop their problem solving skills. Another characteristic of a 21st century teacher or educator is that the model. A role model is a person who inspires and encourages us to strive for greatness, live to our fullest potential, and see the best in ourselves. A role model is someone we admire and someone we aspire to be like. There is an expectation that teachers will teach values. So we must model the behaviors that we expect from our students. Teachers being role models include showing students how to make sense in the world and express different ideas in a peaceful way. This can model for students how they should act when they speak with others and how to actively listen to other points of view. We are often the most consistent part of their life, seeing them more often, for longer, and more reliably than even their parents. That is why we influence them greater than other people in their lives. The 21st century educators should also model tolerance, global awareness, and reflective practice, whether it's the quiet, personal inspection of teaching and learning, or through blogs, Twitter, and other media, effective for educators to look both inwards and outwards. Another is the leader, whether they are a champion of the process of ICT integration, applied technology codes, and applied technology codes, the 21st century educator is a leader. Like clear goals and objectives, leadership is crucial to the success of, or failure of any subject. They lead the class in all aspects as well as leaders in their own ways in their
Yes.
respective school and home communities. Here are 9 roles of teacher leaders, administrators. One way to become teacher leader is to look into school administration jobs.
Yeah,
This creates the opportunity to implement changes, motivate the students and faculty, and strengthen a school from within. Another is facilitator. A facilitator is another important role of teachers looking to step up to leadership may want to consider. Facilitators serve as team leaders for different grade levels or grade level teams, working closely with teachers and their students to gather and analyze data about teacher practices and the student performance to promote the best student learning outcomes. Another is mentor. Students need mentors, and mentoring them is an essential part of becoming a teacher leader. This includes advising students about colleges and curriculums or helping them with problems ranging from uh, mundane and to deeply personal. Teacher leaders also mentor their fellow teachers. Clubs and organization chairs. Social and educational clubs are important in schools. They often need leaders and organizers to make them successful. This is a role based on educational leadership that the teacher leader admirably fills, whether it involves chairing the National Honor Society or heading a team for improvement. Coaches, similarly, sports are vital in schools. They emphasize the importance of team spirit and collaboration. Many teachers double as coaches for their school's sports teams. Kindly mute your microphones, please. This fosters sense of camaraderie with the students as well. Being active through sports and engaging with like-minded peers can significantly improve a student's performance. In addition to providing necessary experience for college transcriptions and applications. Curriculum creators. A good school and a successful student body both depend on strong curriculum development. In this instance, a teacher leader helps other teachers come up with new strategies and interesting course material to better engage the students. If the current curriculum lacks something essential, such as more math classes or a better history syllabus, the teacher leader spots the gap and seeks to fill it. Specialty instructors. Teacher leaders work across the board in varying roles. If teachers in a chemistry class draft poorly structured reports, then a teacher leader in English will help in and help the chemistry teacher advise the students on how to become better writers. Again, helping both students and teachers is essential and a key role for teacher leaders. Community builders. If a teacher leader learns about a new technique for resource, even if it's not in one's discipline, the individual will immediately share it. In this way, every teacher constantly improves. The idea of paying it forward creates much more successful learning environment. It creates a community. Learners. A true teacher leader never stops learning. He or she attends lectures, seminars, and classes to become a better teacher and a better leader. Sometimes that even involves going back to school. There are also some characteristics of a 21st century or teacher or educator, which is taken from the book Building and Enhancing New Literacies Across Curriculum by Elmar de Leon 2020. First is multiliterate. Teachers know how to use various technologies in teaching. This was already discussed to you by Sir Amal last Friday. Multi-specialist teachers are not only knowledgeable in the core subject they teach, but also in the other areas, so that they can help the learner build up what they gain in the classroom and outside the school and make sense of what was learned. Multi-skilled teachers cope with the demand of widening learning opportunities by being skillful not just in teaching, but also in facilitating and organizing groups and activities. Other aspects of it was already discussed last Friday. Self-directed teachers are responsible for various aspects of school life and know how to initiate action to realize the learning goals of the students and the educational goals of the country at large. Lifelong learner. Teachers embrace the idea that learning never ends. Therefore, teachers must be constantly updated on the latest information related to their subject and pedagogic trends. They also should share what they are learning to their students and colleagues with a high sense of professionalism. Flexible. Teachers are able to adapt to various learning styles and needs of learners. They can facilitate learner-centered teaching with flexibility using alternative modes of delivery. Another is creative problem solver. Teachers create innovative ideas and effective solutions to the arising problems in the field, be it in the classroom or be it in the school or professional zone. Critical thinker. Teachers are critical thinkers as they encourage students to reflect on what they have learned and rekindle in them the desire to ask questions, reason out, probe, and establish their own knowledge and belief. Has passion for excellent teaching. Teachers possess passion for in the teaching profession to ensure that students are motivated to learn under their guidance and care. High emotional quotient. Teachers do not just have the head, but also the heart to teach. Teaching is emotionally tasking, but an influential job as it involves interaction with human beings. This is why extensive preparation and training is needed, as according to the lecture of Dr. Aman last Friday. Thank you very much for listening. And again, good afternoon, everyone.
Ay, apa? Di pa mo na ko sa no?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Any question, clarification that you want to raise? So our speaker for today will be able to clarify things with you. Just simply raise your hand from the reaction button there down on your screen, and then you click the raised hand. So we will be able to recognize you. Yes, Briggs Mark Alvarez. Briggs Mark.
Sir?
Yes,
Present,
any
sir.
question? May request our student participants to participate in the discussion. You may actually raise questions, clarifications, and the like. So you will be guided by our speaker for today. We would like to acknowledge the presence of the head of the Adamas University, HOD Dr. Parthita Biswas. And so with Dr. Pragyan, who else? While waiting for those who want to raise questions, let me browse our group. We also have here the supervising professor of one of our programs here at Quirino State University, Mr. Romar Antonio, Dr. Veronica Balbin. Who else is with us? All right. The Dean of the Graduate is of the College of Teacher Education, Dr. Agaton Patalitan, is also here with us. Who else? I might have missed some of our participants here. And other professors from Quirino State University, and of course, the Adamas University. Good afternoon, everyone. Any question? Dr. Evelyn Casareno is also with us in the meeting room. I think there is no more question, and I believe as I intently listen to the discussion, I know that the topic is well elucidated by our guest, by our very own speaker for today, Dr. Jamina G. Kamayang. On April 1, we're going to have another session that would be centering on ICT in teaching and learning by Professor Pranay Pandi of Adamas University. Having no more questions, we are now going to end this session for today. And we hope everybody to participate in the next meeting. Advance advisory, our university president will be doing the lecture on April 4. Okay, so we are indeed very lucky because our university president, who is actually a practitioner of authentic assessment, will be discussing that topic to us. It's really very interesting, especially for the novice teachers like you, who is going to do the practice teaching this semester. So I encourage everybody to participate, to attend, and listen intently to the lectures of our invited guests and even our own lecturers in the university. So without much ado, I would like to say thank you to Adamas University for this opportunity to be with them in this noble task of having this faculty exchange program between the Adamas University School of Education and Quirino State University College of Teacher Education. Mabuhay, and thank you everyone. Shukriya, maraming salamat, at good afternoon everyone. Bye everyone. See you
Bye,
on
everyone.
See you on Friday. The last code is actually AQ. Okay, so I have given you the 4-letter passcode in our attendance sheet. Okay, we're going to close it at exactly 4:30 in the afternoon. Thank you very much, and see you all on April 1 with Mr. Pranay Pandi.